Browns aren't dead. The Cleveland Browns season without Deshaun Watson, it ain't over. Like, they are still making the playoffs, and I think they are absolutely capable of making a deep playoff run. The last thing I'm doing today is throwing dirt on their grave and saying it's all over. Because so far, look at what we've seen from the Browns this season without Deshaun Watson. They've been okay. They have stayed afloat. In 4 games that Deshaun Watson has started, or has started and not finished, and or just missed completely, the Browns in those 4 games, they are 2-2. Pretty solid, right? Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker splitting time between those 4 games, but 2-2 in those 4 games. You beat San Francisco, very impressive win, and all 4 of those teams you played in no order, the 49ers, the Colts, the Ravens, and the Seahawks. All 4 are 500 or better. So you're playing good teams. You're 2-2. You right now is 6-3 in a wild card spot. I think they can absolutely go 4-4 and make the playoffs at 10-7. Like, they are a playoff team. I would be surprised sitting here on November 15th that if 2 months from now we are talking about playoff football and the Browns are not involved, I'll be surprised. They're a good team. They have shown they can play still well and win games without their leader in Deshaun Watson. And speaking of which, look, Deshaun Watson, franchise quarterback, right? You give him that massive contract, but it's not like he was playing great this year. It's not like the Browns are 6-3 in large part because of Watson, and now they're screwed. He's not been very good. Now, he is coming off of the best half of football, the second half against the Ravens, I think, of his short Browns career. But with that said, so far in totality of games he's played in, I mean, he's averaging just 185 passing yards per game. That's below Bryce Young, who's had a very bad year so far. That's below Joshua Dobbs, who's bounced around. That's below even Ryan Tannehill. Just 185 yards per game passing in the air is what Deshaun Watson is averaging this season. He's 21st in the league in quarterback rating and has just 7 touchdown passes. So again, it's not like this is the Chiefs losing Patrick Mahomes or the Bengals losing Joe Burrow, where that quarterback is that team. The Browns have missed already 4 out of 10 games, or 4 out of 9 games, I should say. They've played without Deshaun Watson, almost half. They are 2-2 in those 4 games without him. And even when Watson was on the field, they weren't winning solely because of him. So now that he's out for the rest of the season, I don't see how I can just automatically say, oh, they're done. They're missing the playoffs. Even if they make the playoffs, they're one and done. This Browns team is still really dangerous. We talked about it in yesterday's show. They are not a team I want to see in the playoffs, even still. With Dorian Thompson-Robinson at least being the starter for this Sunday, maybe P.J. Walker coming in as well at some point this season, they're not a team that I'm still excited to see. Because they are tough, they know how to win, and they have other areas that they could beat you in. So that's one reason why I'm not throwing dirt on the Browns and why I think it's personally premature to sit here right now and say the Browns season is over hours after we find out that Deshaun Watson is out for the year with a shoulder injury. That's number one. They've been fine without him. 2-2, win over the 49ers. They're 6-3, and even when he's played, he's not played very good. They can survive without him. But also number 2 is, if you think the Browns are done, missing the playoffs, or if they make the playoffs, squeak their way in like they have no chance, can't be competitive, and you don't foresee a deep playoff run possible whatsoever, let me ask you this then. Who in the AFC is beating them come playoff time? Who's steamrolling them? Which team right now is playing head and shoulders better than the Browns to where it's not even a question if this is going to be a game, or it's not even a question if the other team that Cleveland is playing is going to win? Are we saying that's the Chiefs? The same Chiefs offense that has been sputtering and inconsistent all season long? Who the last time we saw them in a big game against Miami scored 2 offensive touchdowns? And against a Miami team, or I guess I should say against a Miami defense that's solid, nowhere near the level of the Browns though. That's the team, are we saying that's absolutely steamrolling the Browns come playoff time? Are we saying the Bengals, who have been hot and cold this season and also own, by the way, Joe Burrow? Just completely own him? He has no answers for that Cleveland defense whatsoever. Are we saying come January, if Cleveland has to go into Cincinnati, it's not even a question, like let's move on to the next game, that is an obvious Bengals win? I can't sit here and say that. Jaguars? I mean, have they beaten a good team? Dolphins? See the Jaguars? Ravens? I don't really trust Lamar in the postseason. Not from what I've seen in his 4 postseason starts. So for me, I got to see it from Lamar and this Ravens team before I believe it come postseason time. So who is it? Who are we looking at right now in the AFC that is head and shoulders 50 times better right now than the Browns come January? There is not a team. There is no team right now you would say if they played Cleveland in the playoffs, they would smoke them by 30. And that's important because with how elite this Browns defense is, I think every playoff game is going to be close. That Browns defense is legit. Right? They are elite. Arguably the best defense in the league. So each and every game, they're going to give their offense, even with how limited it is, a chance to win the game. And we've seen in the playoffs, right? Ball bounces a funny way. You get a break that maybe you don't foresee coming. All of a sudden, that one break, all it takes is one break. One bounce of the football to go your way. Hell, at this point, with what we've seen, one bad call from referee to go your way, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're in the game and you could win the game. So there's no team right now that is head and shoulders better than Cleveland that would blow them out in a playoff game. That to me means every single game Cleveland plays come postseason time is going to be close. It's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be a one-possession game. And like we've said, we've seen plenty of worse teams, we'll put it in air quotes, going into the game, win games we don't think they would or should. But your defense gives you a chance here if you're Cleveland each and every week, and your defense absolutely gives you a chance come playoff time to be in the game and have one play go your way. And that's why I don't understand this rush to judgment and just declaring the Browns dead. Yeah, it sucks. You paid Deshaun Watson $230 million fully guaranteed. You thought he was going to be your savior. It sucks that through 10 games now, or 9 games, that he's out. Through 10 weeks, he's done. Sucks. Not saying you're better off without him. But the way this Browns team is built, through their offensive line, through a still strong running game, through an elite defense, they are built to withstand a massive quarterback injury. Not on the same level, but in a similar way to the 49ers. It was honestly right around this time when Jimmy G got hurt. And I still picked the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. Not because I knew about Brock Purdy or believed in Brock Purdy, but because the way this team was built, they were built to withstand quarterback injuries. And that's why, to me, it wasn't a shock when Brock Purdy came in and played well. He has all the pieces around him to succeed. Now, again, it's a little bit less on offense here in Cleveland, especially without Nick Chubb. You don't have a Deebo Samuel. You don't have a Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle to rely on. Mark Cooper's a solid receiver. David Njoku has, again, been a productive tight end. The running game has been by committee, but it's doing its part on the ground. Like, there is absolutely enough winning pieces here if you're the Browns to still believe you're a playoff team, which they are, and still believe you could do some damage come January. So I'm not putting the Browns out of pasture. I am not throwing dirt on their casket today. No way. I think the Browns are still alive. The Browns, to me, are making the playoffs. I would be shocked if we are sitting here in 6 weeks from now and the Browns are not in the postseason. And I think their defense is good is good enough to where they will be in every playoff game. So I can foresee a deep playoff run here by Cleveland.